Back to one of our earlier stories, the Defend Our Democracy campaign says it's fighting to defend South Africa's constitution and the rule of law. The campaign is aimed at fighting state capture and corruption. This comes just days before former President Jacob Zuma's contempt of court hearing. The matter relates to the former president's defiance of a constitutional court order to account and appear before the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. Zuma has in fact said that he's not defying the constitutional court because he's waiting for a pending matter in one of the lower courts. Let's speak to one of the group's members, Reverend Frank Chigane, joining us by Skype. Reverend, you've been kind enough to stop on the side of the road to speak to us. Thank you so much for your time today. So why do we need a platform such as yours, in a country with so many opposition political parties, NGOs and rights groups?
Well, this particular group brings together all those NGOs, civil society groups, churches, religious people, the legal fraternity, everybody in the country. And the decision was we left the country in the hands of politicians, and the country has paid dearly over the last 12 years or so, and even earlier. And so what we are doing is to say that there must be a respect of the Constitution, there must be a rule of law and respect of the law, and nobody should act outside the law. And this is not just about, former President Zuma. It's about people who have been acting in criminal ways, violated all the laws of this country, looted the resources of the country outside the legal framework, and enriched themselves and at the expense of the people. And what we are now saying is the people are the last line of defense. Political parties have failed us. It happened during their time. Parliament failed us. They even violated the Constitution themselves. And we are saying the people of South Africa must now be mobilized as the last line of defense. And we are making a call on Parliament as representatives of the people to take action and make sure that the Constitution is respected, our democracy is not threatened, and that the political parties should do the same.
You say this is not a specific movement against the former President Jacob Zuma, but to be fair, in your initial statement last week, he was the only person singled out for quote-unquote defiance of the Constitution. So what other issues and individuals are you taking on to convince people that it's not just an anti-Zuma vehicle?
No, the trigger was the former president ignoring the Constitutional Court ruling. That was the trigger, because that began a process where a militia begins to appear and say the police are not going to be allowed to be here. That's lawlessness. You can't allow that in any country whatsoever. And so there are people who then gather around to support this process. Now we are saying the former president is just a trigger, but the people who have been looting the resources of the state have been acting outside the Constitution, outside the law, and that they should face the law. Anybody who operated outside the law should do so, and that we should protect the rights of people as enshrined in the Constitution. That's really what we are saying, and that this corruption and rot has robbed people of their resources, and people live in abject poverty because of the resources that have been taken away from them. And so we're calling for the people of South Africa to take responsibility for their lives and allow no politician, whoever it can be, who is in power, to take advantage of the situation of the people and impoverish them more.
Defend Our Democracy, it has to be said, bears similarities to Save SA, which was founded in the last days of the Zuma administration. I think you may have also referenced that as well in your statement. It essentially disappeared once his presidency had ended. So can you, Reverend Chigane, say today that long after the legal matters involving the former president, you will still be around, still speaking out against alleged corruption and addressing other issues regardless of who is in power?
Well, this movement is going to grow. As you know, we started being 337 people who met on Wednesday virtually, and we made provision for people to sign in to support this campaign. The signing in process has now gone to 5,000 plus people. And we believe that the masses of the people of this country are going to support this campaign, and we're going to mobilize up to ward levels, local government levels, provinces. There are reports of the Auditor General. We're going to make sure that nobody who is corrupt or wants to be corrupt has a place to hide. I think this is what the people of South Africa must do.
How then
do you... That's what we are...
Apologies for cutting you off, Reverend. How do you keep it non-partisan, because you've said it's going to be, and it is, when it has involvement from such senior ANC veterans such as yourself?
Yeah, it's non-partisan. It's about the people of South Africa. See, there's a difference between party activity. If the party within itself can resolve the problems that affect the people because of their own internal processes, it's the people of South Africa who must take responsibility. And we are part of the people of South Africa. Some of us pay dearly. Many of us have lost limbs who are still walking around with us. And many paid with their lives. And we cannot allow this country to deteriorate to a level of lawlessness. We have to make sure that it does not happen. The same way we mobilized against apartheid, we're going to mobilize against this corrupt lot so that they never govern us.
Final question, because we're pressed for time, Reverend. You are saying that you've seen an increase in support from people who are signing up to join the cause. So once people do actually sign up and support you, what are they doing daily or actively to make sure that they advance the fight that you're referring to?
Every organization where they belong to organizations are supposed to mobilize their own members and those who belong to those organizations. The churches are doing the same. Faith-based organizations are doing the same. Business people must do the same. The labor movement must do the same. So everybody goes back to their constituencies and in their communities to mobilize the people. Let me make an example of the South African Council of Churches. We have got what we call our local ecumenical networks at a ward level. And we want to plant all these networks throughout the country. And the people, the members of the churches, will be the watchdogs of what is happening in those communities and make sure that the communities are not taken for granted. I mean, why should you have a sewer system running in a township and nothing gets done? What about the valve? Why would we have such a condition for so many months and nothing changes? We need to stop this. Why should we have potholes when people have been paid to make sure that the potholes are not there? I'm just making examples. And I think it's the time has come for the people of South Africa to take their future into their hands, and that the politicians must serve the people rather than serve themselves.
Okay. Reverend Frank Chigane, thank you so much for being on The Lead this afternoon.